The island is on the brink of a total apocalypse. A massive threat is closing in at breakneck speed. It's time to prepare for the ultimate showdown. Let's kick things off with the lore, because we just got some insane reveals from Zadie. She basically dropped a massive info dump on us. It turns out Zadie is the one leading the elite unit, pulling together the best fighters from across every reality. But here's the kicker. She's actually the former head of security for the Imagined Order. She went to WOL and has been on the run ever since the IO got crushed during the Collide event. Now Zadie is potentially under someone else's orders, scouting and training these elite soldiers, which includes Dago, Lexa, and they're clearly going to play a massive role in the future Fortnite storyline. What's really interesting is that the elite aesthetics are covered in Geno references. We're talking the black and gold color palette, the Oathbound logo showing up in box fight mode, the new Lexa skin, and so on. We'll have to see how this all plays out, but things are definitely getting interesting. But for now, let's focus on what's new in the game. For the past 24 hours, we've been playing matches where everyone has massive bobbleheads. We're shooting bullets out of our bare fingers, and we can literally piggyback on top of each other. It's all for the April Fool's Day event, which kicked off April 1st and is bringing some absolute chaos to the island. They added a hilarious new weapon called the Pew Pew, which is basically just your character doing finger guns. But don't sleep on it, it actually deals some serious damage and melts health bars. You can find these from uncommon all the way up to legendary rarity, chilling in chests or just as floor loot. Speaking of the loot pool, they've nerfed the drop rate for pizza, but buffed the spawn rates for pro fishing rods and harpoon guns. The whole finger gun madness isn't just a weapon either. It's actually incorporated into a brand new storm circle mechanic. Epic also threw in that giant head modifier, which some of you eagle-eyed players might remember from the Chapter 6 live event. Back then, we were all throwing out wild theories about what those teasers meant, but seeing this in action makes it feel like they are definitely test driving some mechanics to fully implement in Chapter 7. The craziest part of the update has to be the new stacking mechanic, where you can hop on your squad mates like a totally stacked totem pole. To do it, you just pull up your remote wheel, tab over to the last page, and boom, you're hitching a ride. If the community vibes with this, there's a solid chance it sticks around. One of Epic's directors even teased on X that they might keep it for the whole season if the hype is real. Just a heads up, if you're the one playing the horse at the bottom of the stack, you can't shoot, but you get a massive boost to your stamina and movement speed, letting you run like a total track star. I actually ran into a hilarious bug with this where my game glitched, and I was just sprinting around by myself like a wild Mustang for half the match without being able to do anything else. You aren't just limited to your buddies either. You can actually mount up on supply llamas. It's insane how fast they are, though obviously they're way harder to track down than a teammate. Those llamas actually spawn from these new in-game anomalies, and they aren't the only ones. Epic secretly cooked up a bunch of other brand new anomalies around the map in this patch too. Let's talk about the heavy hitters, the collabs. We're getting totally brain-rotted right out of the gate with Ballerina Cappuccina and Tun Tun Sahur, and the bundle with all their cosmetics is already looking stacked. The second wave is hitting us with some cyberpunk heat, bringing one dedicated skin to the item shop. On top of that, data miners found out that Toy Story is heavily encrypted in the files right now, likely dropping this weekend or next. We know this because Buzz Lightyear and Zurg are slated to be the bounty targets in the upcoming cups, meaning you can sweat it out and try to cop those skins for free. Woody is also leaked to be joining the roster, rounding out the trio for now, though I wouldn't put it past Epic to sneak in a few more surprise drops. Wrapping up the collab leaks, we're getting an alien back bling companion, plus a fully customizable car body with a bunch of sick styles to flex on the track. Looking at Fortnite's original lineup, we're getting a fresh bundle featuring Lexa rocking Oathbound armor. Their weapon wrap straight up has the Geno logo on it, so you already know they're going to be huge for the lore. They're dropping on April 9th, alongside the brand new box fights mode, which heavily hints that mode is going to have some serious storyline connections. Honestly, the real MVP right now is the OG pass, because Season 8 just kicked off. Epic also confirmed through a dev post that the point style recolors and the Lux wrap are directly inspired by classic styles. The pass rounds out with a glider, a TikTok emote featuring a white recolor that honestly feels like a flop, and a pretty decent mask. The map took a serious trip down memory lane too, mirroring the layout from a few years ago, but with one massive twist. The block isn't floating off the island like past seasons, it's parked dead in the center of the map. Epic already teased the Victory Umbrella, Loot Pool, and PO is a few days ago, setting the stage perfectly. We're also getting the highly anticipated Marvel mode. Just like they did with Fortnite OG, they dropped a promo image showing off the loot pool, which combines the classic mythics from that era with some of the new 2024 gear. Marvel is clearly going to be the main character this year, especially since leakers already confirmed Ultron is invading the game later in 2026. Sticking with the OG theme, we have a live event locked in for May 4th. It's supposed to tie into the main Battle Royale storyline, specifically with the Voyager, but the exact connection is still a total mystery. I've said it a million times, but I'm betting my V-Bucks that the final Chapter 1 event is going to collide head-on with the Chapter 7 finale. The timeline is moving fast. Season 8 wraps up on June 17th, pushing us into Season 9, with Season 10 likely dropping early September. That puts the end of this OG Chapter 1 sometime around late October or November. Rumors have been swirling about a Chapter 2 return forever, but today's patch actually added files pointing straight to us time traveling back to the Apollo Island in December. Rounding out the other modes, LEGO Fortnite is gearing up for its new season, launching on the 15th. Rocket Racing also has an April Fool's event running right now, but I'll keep it a buck with you. I played a few matches and couldn't find a single thing different. Don't forget that the new box fight mode goes live on April 9th, bringing free rewards like a back bling and XP quests to grind. Also, make sure you log in today, because they're handing out a free loading screen just for booting up the game. And since I'm not just here to talk, check out the new skins for yourself. But let's get back to what's happening on the island right now. Remember back in OG Season 5 when the Red Kevin the Cube emerged from the rift, changing the rift's behavior and all the runes. For weeks, this cube rolled across the OG island, leaving behind those wicked red runes. Every so often, the moon would change colors from red to finally settle on purple, and the same thing happened to the bunker. Eventually, the red cube slid into Loot Lake. But what's the big deal with all this? Over the last 3 OG seasons, the descriptions for the Visitor, My Favorite Drift, and all other skins all contain the word unknown, which highlights how important the unknown reality, where the OG island is located, really is. Strangely enough, Kevin's island reverted to its original purple color in Season 6. That's because the red rift energy was moved beneath the island, reaching the 0 Points core. This led to the Red Kevin the Cube showing up during the Butterfly event. However, before that happened, a whisper of the Titans echoed from the bunker. I think this was a nod to the Dark Presence, a Titan we were about to fight. It's a pretty big deal because the word on the street is that the Red Butterfly was sent to the OG reality by none other than the Dark Presence way back in Season 4. But the Dark Presence was actually used by someone even darker to send that butterfly. This brings us to the Butterfly event, which, just like 6 years ago, started with the cube exploding. This time though, after visiting the in-between, the red cube was still there. If you look closer, you can see it turned several of the dimensional lines red, and even weirder, energy pulsed out from the 0 Points core through them, unlike the others. For those who don't know, the in-between is a separate dimension inside the 0 Point. The lines you see are the existing realities, and this dimension is one giant circle connecting every single reality to the 0 Point as its core. This tells us that the red cube is responsible for messing with several realities. So, how did the cube get to the in-between? My guess is that the cube somehow duplicated itself while entering Loot Lake, creating two versions, one purple and one red. Then, less than a week before the biggest event in Fortnite history, the 0 Hour, the red cube that appeared during the event is 100% from the OG reality, which perfectly explains the Titans and 0 Hour messages encoded in Morse code. But there's one question left. How did Jonesy know the red cube existed? Honestly, I don't think he knew at all. All he wanted was to teleport the old purple Kevin he remembered from Chapter 1. However, all the changes in the current OG reality led to the new red cube being brought in. Despite its different look, it got the job done and ended the dark presence. Since the OG Battle Passes dropped, almost every season has had hints about something called the Unknown. In each season, a character had dialogue about it. Drift said we should seek the unknown, and Lynx tells us to check out what the unknown has to offer, and investigate your unknown surroundings. Overall, Lynx's introduction brought us closer to solving the mystery of what the unknown is. We now have 100% confirmation that it's closely tied to the last reality. Let's move on to the Visitor. Since the start of Chapter 7, we've known that his NPC would return to the Battle Royale island after many years, and instead of his original skin, it would be the Visitor from OG mode. I don't trust him one bit, because he was most likely manipulated by the last reality, and he's the last person I'd believe. There are two possibilities. Either the last reality has full control over him, or they're secretly using him for their sinister plans. The same kind of plans the Ice King has tucked away. You heard that right? Officially, after 7 years of being gone, he's back. The Ice King is too important and vital a character in Fortnite's story to be destroyed in such a spectacular way. So, it's possible his new version is intentionally bad because Epic wanted to show us that the OG Ice King isn't the one we remember. I believe his story will be significantly expanded then, and maybe we'll finally get an explanation for what that huge table in his castle made of runes really was. Furthermore, if you look at the entrance to the castle at Polar Peak, you'll find that table and his knights, who were mentioned in the Zero War comics, as well as one overturned chair symbolizing the prisoner, who was once the Ice King's most loyal companion. The Ice King and his 5 knights once gathered a weapon too dangerous to leave in the universe, but the prisoner decided to betray them because he believed they should use the weapon to conquer the world. The Ice King, of course, disagreed and extinguished his flame, turning him into chilled rock at the bottom of the ocean. The weapon in question is, naturally, the Infinity Blade. Let's check out the new Ice King's design, because he looks like a modernized, clean skin, just like Drift, Lynx, and the Visitor. All the OG skins seem to be connected, and a lot better than the ones from the past. However, even though they remember the events of the past on this island, I don't think it makes any sense. In my opinion, the OG Visitor is a different Visitor from the one we know, which would explain the changed 7 logo on his armor. This also means that none of the character we met in OG are the same one we remember. They are completely different versions of them. As Chapter 7 began, it became clear that the last reality controlled every little detail of Fortnite's story until the defeat of the Dark Presence, calling it all the learning phase. And that's our key to knowing the whole truth about OG mode. The last reality has been messing with the 0 point from the very start, learning everything about the loopers, Fortnite Island. The start of Season 2 has completely turned the entire Fortnite storyline upside down. And right now, all eyes are locked on the Ice King. What began as a simple turf war has escalated into an all-out battle for reality itself. Can we actually piece together the crazy mysteries this season is hiding? Honestly, if you're not keeping up with the Fortnite lore lately, you are heavily missing out. We are finally getting those massive events and payoffs we've been waiting literal years for. And no, this season's storyline isn't just about some alien orb bouncing around the map. Basically, the narrative right now is entirely focused on the Order, trying to track down the rest of the 7, with an assist from this alternate version of the Visitor. That's exactly why they can't go head-to-head just yet. They are seriously lacking the manpower. Meanwhile, the Voyager has been hopping through different key realities, snatching up fragments of the 0 point. It definitely looks like he's trying to rebuild it, but he's doing it completely his own way, After freezing the entire island, the Ice King somehow made it over to the Golden Coast, which is the island from the regular Battle Royale mode. This is huge because it officially connects both game modes in a way that is way more concrete than anything we've seen before. Speaking of which, we got this icy biome with castles and all that, which obviously belongs to the Ice King. We see him strolling down a hallway full of incredibly powerful living beings, to put it lightly. It's still up in the air if this is the OG Ice King we've always known, or an alternate version. He's rocking a different skin and look, but it could easily just be the same guy with a fresh coat of paint. Either way, his overall mission seems identical. If you remember, the Ice King was never actually a villain in the lore. The Marvel comics completely cleared his name. His whole vibe was just freezing any artifact or living thing from any reality that posed a massive threat or held too much power. He was never loyal to the Imagined Order or the Seven, he just operated on his own terms. But this specific version of the Ice King might actually be evil by nature. If he ends up teaming up with the Voyager, it's either because he's entering his villain era, or maybe this new version of the Seven are actually the bad guys this time around. There are a ton of possibilities on the table. Next up, we catch a glimpse of the Prisoner, specifically his original version. That tracks, considering they used to be allies from different kingdoms, even though the Prisoner was always obsessed with tweaking realities using universal artifacts. The last time we saw the OG Prisoner was also in the Marvel comics, where he ended up frozen underwater again. But if he's here now, how is the OG mode storyline going to work? Next season, Season 8, is incredibly important because he's the one who summons the volcano and wakes up the Devourer. My bet is that at some point next season, the Prisoner is going to find a way back to the OG island to make all of that happen. We also have Aurelia in the mix, who is related to Marigold, or basically her undead version. Normally I'd think they just dropped that skin in for the aesthetic, but with how much lore Fortnite is packing into this chapter, Aurelia might actually be super relevant next season. She's essentially a guardian against Tomb Raiders. That makes total sense, because if the Ice King is out here freezing artifacts and beings, he'd definitely have to cross paths with the Guardian protecting them. There's also another Captain America skin, though I don't think there's insanely deep lore there. It's probably just flexing a new look for a character whose whole brand is being frozen for ages and waking up as a man out of time. And finally, after all this waiting, we get the Foundation. He's back in different armor, rocking a silver suit and a leather vest. The big question is whether this is our Foundation or an alternate version from the new Seven. Since the alternate visitor has a totally different helmet design, and the Foundation still has his classic visor, it's probably our guy. Those visor symbols are basically their ancestral branding. It's how you verify the original. But why is he frozen? If you look super closely, he's frozen mid-fight. He was definitely throwing down with someone, maybe even the Ice King himself. They used to see eye to eye on the 0 point, so it's wild that they'd be rivals now. I'm guessing that if the Ice King is evil now, it's the fallout from the Seven failing to free the 0 point from the Imagined Order, which obviously brought a wave of terrible consequences. Since Season 2 is titled Showdown, we are clearly getting a massive clash between factions. I personally think the Ice King will step up as a third faction, meaning the core season is going to be a massive three-way war.